So this is the topic today, guys. This is the topic today. There are certain characteristics and observations that I have made about Reform voters. And it's very, very much that true as well, Leslie. They are bottoms in many, many ways. Reformers are bottoms in many ways. And I'm going to add that to my list. Thank you, Leslie. I've got a list in ways that they're bottoms. That's another one. Thank you so much. They are going to love this. They are going to love this. They are the bottoms. They are the bottoms. Reformers are the bottoms. Beans, you're going to be educated as well today. There are many different ways that you are at the lowest point that you could have been in humanity. Akua says they're going to lose their minds. I make them lose their minds, generally, when I'm talking and when I'm not talking. You see my necklace today, guys? Even though the camera's backwards, it's my name. Fox. Don't forget it. So, we're going to have a very, very, very good conversation today. Very good conversation. They are the absolute bottoms. They are the bottom set, uneducated. They are the bottom rung in the socio-economic class. They are bottom barrel. They represent the worst of society. They are bottom feeders. Thank you, Leslie. Because they're obviously still gobbling like, they're gobbling from the balls of patriarchy. They are the absolute bottoms because they love being shafted as well by the patriarchy. And who is their favorite guy that they're so obsessed with? Tommy Robinson, another man. They are so bottoms. Now we have Last Stance on the panel right now. So Last Stance, this is my topic today. Reformers are absolute bottoms. So what do you have to add to the conversation, please, Last Stance?
Hi, how's it going? Thanks for having me up.
Oh, it's going well. How are things with you?
I'm doing good. Yeah, so I'm actually not British. I live in America, but I do try to read up on British politics.
I can hear.
Yeah. Yeah, I usually get made immediately, right? Not that I hide it, but the thing is that, listen, I'm very critical of reform as well, maybe for different reasons. I understand, obviously, that the British electoral system is obviously different than over here. You kind of go in cycles, you're a little bit different. You're not, your next run for prime minister is not for a couple of years. However, I absolutely am of the opinion that reform is kind of a Pied Piper party. They are massively Zionist. They are actually not even anti-legal immigration. They don't even really want to crack down on that. And I think they bluff a little bit on the rhetoric when it comes to illegal immigration. I actually think, surprisingly, even like Keir Starmer has even been better than like the conservatives were, for example, on things like immigration. So that's clearly pushing the line. Reform's going to have to take a harder stance on immigration, which they seem unwilling to do. It is for that reason that I support Restore, because I think that Restore is the only party in Britain that could potentially carry out remigration of not just illegal migrants but legal migrants as well, which is what's needed.
Last Stance, why are you lot so afraid of other people?
That would include you, preferably. But
why are you so afraid of other people? Why do we scare you so much? Why? What did we do? What makes us so terrifying?
I could go. I always get this question, and it always comes to like, well, why is it that you feel this way? And I could give you a myriad of reasons, but I actually like to defer to a Napoleon quote that I quite like.
Oh God,
Napoleon was once quoted as.
Just tell me, you personally.
No, Holly, it's one quote. No, it's one quote.
You, Last Stance.
No, Holly, I think it's very pertinent.
No, listen to the question.
It's very pertinent.
Listen to the question I'm asking.
I heard your question. I heard your question.
You clearly go to these spaces with a script.
So do you want to dictate my answer, or can we talk?
You have a script, right? You have a script that you stick to.
I haven't. What are you talking about? I'm just talking to you.
Last Stance, I'm a human being, and what we do is actually engage in conversation where I get to know you also.
You're an African, and I gauge you as an African.
If you don't want to actually engage in an actual adult and human discussion, you're dropped right now, because I'm going to ask you some questions about your thoughts and feelings. But you see these people, guys, they have the strictest remigration. question, you're an absolute bottom because you can't even tell that this is not even your mindset. This is something else that someone has told you to be. And this is why you're a bottom barrel, bottom rung of society. You are literally doing the same copy paste shit that other men around you are doing. You have no individual thought. You weren't trying to talk to me last dance. You were trying to talk at me. You were trying to talk at me. That's what you're trying to do. Talk at me. Like I say, you don't see me as a human being because you don't understand black and brown people. You don't understand gay people. You don't understand disabled people. You don't understand people outside of yourself because your life is so limited. No, you weren't trying to answer my question last dance. You were not trying to answer my question. You were going on your script. You were answering it in a way in your mind. Like I was going to ask you, and like I was asking you, what is it that makes you so afraid that you feel like you need to remove a whole entire section of society? Why? Because we've never felt that way, because you don't scare us, clearly, because we're still here as people. You lot are the ones who are very afraid, and you don't even understand what your fear looks like. And the fact is that you are bottoms. And you are so massively homophobic as well at the same time because you're not able to be as openly homosexual as you want to be. This is also part of the reason, like I said, and like this topic is going to be the topic today, is that you are so obsessed with men. But historically, and we're going to go into the history of homophobia and homosexuality, why you feel like it's not a place that you can be openly gay. And this is a terrible time in the world. That you think now that because you can't be openly gay, you have to be like, right, okay, I'm just going to be a submissive to the patriarchy and to Keir Starmer. I'm going to love him and I'm going to love Rupert Lowe. You see how many men's names that guy rung off already? He said Nigel. He said Rupert. They're men. And you're kind of like, oh, I can't be gay, but I'm obsessed with other men. You are obsessed with other men, truly. And like I was going to say, and I'm going to say later, I'm going to go into the history of homosexuality and I'm going to go into the history of homophobia as well. Because we need to live in a more open society. Because the fact of the matter is that men are so fucking miserable. English men, reformers, MAGA, whoever they want to, identify, which party they want to identify with, all these right-wing parties, is because they are closeted homosexuals. Simply put, they want to be able to worship men in other ways. Look at the rise of the incel. They're always talking about other men. Men on the mouth, men in the lips, men's balls. They literally suck the dick of patriarchy, these people. They do. They do. Last dance, I heard you say you're not MAGA or Reform. You're Restore. And the first person's name you mentioned was Rupert Lowe. Another man. And you were quoting Napoleon. Other men. You love men in a way that doesn't make you openly homosexual. You tried to make it political. But we see you. I see you. Like I said, you are bottoms in many, many different ways. Many ways. Bottom set. Highly uneducated people. You think you're smart, but yet you always come at the bottom of every single education system. You are the most uneducated group of people. You are bottom rung. Socio-economic class. We talked about class system yesterday. Why are the white working class such victims? You are the bottom rung of society, and yet you feel like it's your position to try and bring everybody else down with you because you're so depressed about your poor lineage. What did Last Dance do? First thing he said was we need to get rid of everybody else. Not that he came up here all confident and said, me and my people, we've achieved these things. Me and my family, we've done these things. Last Dance, uneducated, bottom set. Your people are still asking for reparations. These people don't even understand what compensation means. Why would white people be asking for reparations? What has literally been done to you? And yet you're coming up here and still trying to get rid of people that are clearly a threat to you. And that's why I asked you, why do black and brown people scare you so much? Why? You are a scared little bitch. Bottom barrel. worst of society. You signify everything that is hateful in this world. Your homophobia, your discrimination, your racism, your ableism. You signify the worst of society because you don't like yourselves. You don't know yourselves. You don't have any identity except for what another man has told you. And you listen to the man because you love him so much. You listen to men because you love them so much. You want to guzzle their balls in your mouth. That is you. You love other men in a way that's unhealthy. Because if you had healthy love, you would be openly homosexual. Let me tell you about English people and the history of homosexuality, right? So English people, so before this, the world was very sexually liberated. We didn't have things like labels. It did not exist, right? Even if you're talking about European culture, the Greeks, very openly sexual, like very, very, very open. Fluidity was something that they really, really, really respected. It was humanity. But what happened is the 18th century. White people realized that they needed to use religion to control others. The push of Christianity. Let's take any sort of worship or religions that existed previously, and let's take this one book, the Bible, and punish people by dissecting the Bible and reinterpreting it in a way that kept people oppressed. And homosexuality was one of those reasons. So in 1500s, English people, so the UK didn't have any homosexuality laws, right? Britain had no homosexuality laws. They had none, okay? But in the 1500s, English people created the B Act, I can't say the full word, which made homosexual acts punishable by unalivement in the 1500s. Such an insecure group of people that they had to unalive other men over it. Ridiculous, right? And so what the definition of B was, let me see if I can sense this word, beaggery. If I call it that, maybe you understand. Bug, beaggery, make the word there, right? They deemed it as an unnatural sexual act against the will of God and man. So like I said, the pushing of Christianity, the pushing of the church, they decided that anybody who wanted to lie with another man was illegal. They thought that these people did not deserve to live. And so it became part of your culture. Anyone who was homosexual was going to be against what England stood for, what English people stood for. Fast forward to 1967, okay? So this is hundreds of years later. So you have about 400 years already of punishment against homosexuals. 400 years. That becomes your trauma. That becomes part of your culture. You don't want to be openly homosexual, okay? 1967, you finally have decriminalization with restrictions. Because even if you're over 21, you can't have schmex in a hotel and you can't have schmex in your own house where there's a third person in your house, maybe in another room. You still couldn't be openly gay in the 1960s. And a lot of you guys are older, you're of that generation. So you already had the 400 years, and now it's creeping into modern day where you still can't be openly homosexual. That's the story. And then when you go into the 90s, which is more closer to our era now, the 1990s, there were a series of unsolved murders in the gay community in London in 6 months. There were a series. Unsolved, they said. Unsolved. Men around Soho turning up unalived. Insecure Englishmen were targeting gay men because why? They stood for everything that they wanted to be. That's why people hate others, because they get to be what they cannot be. This is why I say reformers are bottoms. Absolute bottoms. Can't be it. You can't be it. You can't be a top. You're not a top. You are not the tops in society at all. Exactly. Win for the LGBTQIA community. Right? And then 1999, the most tragic thing that ever happened to the community, the Schmale bees. I have to censor myself quite a bit, and I know that I'm censored already. You guys will remember the pubs in London, the Schmale bombings. It was a former BNP member that did that. 3 people unalived and 70 wounded. A tea attack against the gay community. A targeted tea attack against the gay community. Why did you target them? Why did you choose them? Why have you continued to choose them? They are human just like you. The Schmale bombing was 1999. 1999, 27 years ago. I remember when it happened. A lot of you here will remember when that happened. A BNP member did that. Right? Disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. And you know when the first prosecution for a homophobic unalivement was? 2008. Not that long ago. 2008. You only, as a people, started to say, do you know what? It's actually kind of hard. It's wrong to harm people who love each other of the same sex. That's the first time you started to think that. SF Man says, I don't like it, but I don't want to hurt them or wish bad on them. Nobody asks for your opinion on whether you like it or not. How other people live has nothing to do with you. Having an opinion on how other people live has nothing to do with you. This life is not for people to like things and dislike things. Especially if they don't harm you. I don't like things like homophobia. I don't like things like racism. I don't like things like discrimination. You're saying you don't like the way that somebody lives, SF Man. So that makes you equally as bad. If you are putting some energy into the things that you don't like towards how people are naturally, you are just as bad. You don't have to like or dislike even in this. You can have no opinion and you can stay neutral on these things. Homosexuality is not a crime. And what are you talking about? Thought crime. What does that mean, SF Man? What does that even mean? Move to 2000, right? You can have your own opinions, but I'm telling you, your opinions are still problematic. You're allowed, you can have problematic opinions, you know. So I was just discussing this topic. And I knew I was going to get a bit by TikTok because of the controversial nature. Hello, Leanne. Good to see you. Reformers are bottoms. Absolute bottoms. They are bottom set in the education system. We know this. We know this for a fact. The last live I just did, I had a guy come up talking about him being Restore. And I said, bottom barrels there, Leanne. I've got the list. Bottom set, bottom rung, bottom barrel, bottom feeders. And bottoms. Because a lot of them are closeted. We know. They suck the dick of patriarchy. They suck the dick of Tommy Robinson. They're obsessed with other men. Yeah, I got the list, girl. I got the list. I got the list. I got also the historical list as well. You know me, I always come with facts. And I love to humiliate these bitches as well. I love to do it. It gives me joy. It gives me pleasure. Truly. I love it. So the last guy, as I was just mentioning, he was talking about being Restore Britain. And I said, okay, well, tell me why other people scare you so much. Oh, don't do this. Let me quote from Napoleon. No, I'm asking you directly. Don't quote from Napoleon. You. Why do you fear other existences so much? Tell me what makes us so scary as people. What makes gay people so scary? What makes trans people so scary? What makes black and brown people so scary? What makes disabled people so scary? Why do you fear these groups of people? Because you're trying to get rid of everybody. It's because you're afraid. You're afraid of anything different. You don't know that you're afraid, and that's the problem. Because if you're not afraid, you want to live in peace and harmony, and you can just not worry about what anyone else is doing. I don't care what anyone else is doing unless it harms me or it harms humanity. You're literally having campaigns to exterminate people, and you want me to keep quiet about that? And you think that you're the good people? You think that you're the good guys? Fucked up. Bottom set, like we discussed. The GCSE results in the UK, what do they show? White, working class boys, uneducated, unqualified. Nobody wants to hire you. You're unintelligent. And you're not wanting to expand your minds and actually gain extra knowledge. You're not wanting to do that. These minds, our brains are like sponges. But your brains are literally like when SpongeBob goes out of the water, shriveled up, dry. That's what your brain looks like, SpongeBob out of water. I love acquiring new knowledge. I love it. I drink it up. I suck it up like water, like drink. Imagine this is full of knowledge. This is me. I drink that shit up. You lot, when you see knowledge, you're like, rebuke. Rebuke. I rebuke knowledge. I rebuke correct information. I rebuke it. That's you. You're allergic to learn the truth, to know the truth. You don't get it. I'd say you're the bottom rung. They won't understand the word rebuke, anti-racist mum says. Well, hopefully my mime of rebuke tells them you're allergic to correct information and new information. You have allergies towards it. Bottom rung. We talked about this. Yes. It says my name, Fox, on my choker. Yeah, that's my name. Bottom rung. We talked yesterday about the white working class. Why are they making themselves such victims? We discussed the reason why they are victims to the system that actually should have benefited them. They are the bottom rung in the socio-economic class. The ladder of classes. You got the 1% at the top, the ones who have really just abused the whole entire planet and enslaved also white English people to that system and made them the bottom rung. And now that bottom rung class thinks it's much easier and much better to attack black and brown people because they think that we are below them on the ladder, when actually, what are we? Above them on the ladder. They're not punching down, they're punching up. But instead of actually going up to where they need to go to, they think they're punching down, but they're still punching up because we are succeeding in a system set up against us. They are still at the very first step of the ladder. To be honest, they haven't even got 1 foot on the ladder. They're still on the ground. These people are still on the ground. You don't think I'm higher than you, Lou. So we got Lou in the comment section, and Lou has got some real problems with this topic. Lou, you don't think I'm higher up than you in the socio-economic class, Lou? You don't think that? Lou, why don't you come up and have a conversation with me? And let's actually discuss where we are on the socio-economic class so we can actually see where you are, where I am. Let's have a real conversation, because very quickly, to be honest with you, you're already showing where you are on the socio-economic class. We don't need to have a conversation about it. I already see where you are. And I can't invite you for some reason. But yeah, Lapis, so blind to envy than Fox. Yeah, basically what happens. I already shown where I am on my socio-economic class. I've already showed it. You've already shown yours, and you still think you're higher than me? Lou is projecting, running uneducated topics. I've talked about history. I've talked about economics. I talk about all of these things. And the thing is, Lou, I have noticed you in the comment section before. This is not the first time that you come here. So if this conversation is so beneath you, Lou, why are you here? If you think this is so uneducated, thank you, Leanne, thank you. Why are you here, Lou? What is the reason that you are here, Lou? Why? Next point on the list, bottom barrel. You are the worst of society. You represent the worst in society. How hateful you are, how discriminatory you are. You literally go to people's different countries and suppress them. In your own country, you oppress them. You commit criminal acts towards people because you think they're so different to you. That's what you do. That's what you do. You harm people because they're different. I didn't see what Lou said, but thank you for the muting, mods. Thank you, mods, for being here as always. Thank you. I didn't know this, okay? I was doing my research, like I said, about homosexuality and homophobia. The year 2000, the unaliving of Damilona Taylor. Do you know what was said to Damilona the weeks running up to his unalivement? So much homophobia was said towards him. I didn't know this. The kids were bullying him and making homophobic slurs towards him for weeks up until they unalived him. That information really shocked me. It shocked me that even if he was, and he could have been, and he probably was, like I say, I don't know much more than that, but I didn't know that was part of the story. That poor kid in England couldn't be who he was. Maybe he was a bit flamboyant. Maybe he was completely straight, but he was maybe creative, right? Because if you're creative, they think that you're homosexual. Tris Laporte says in the comment section, if black people, I'm not saying how you say it because you're racist, and Arabs respected the law and British people and its traditions, then racism would do. That doesn't even make sense. That doesn't make sense at all, because the massive majority of white English people, white British people do the crime, so they don't respect the law, Tris Paula. So what are you trying to say? Like, even in your country in France, the majority of white people are going to be doing the crime, so they don't respect the law. Your logic doesn't logic, sir. It doesn't make sense. What laws are you talking about? Because if you're talking about law and black and brown people are abiding to the same mindset as other British people or other white people, then they're doing just exactly what you're doing. So they're integrating, Tris Paula. They're doing the same as you. Yeah, which is what you do. And you did it globally, Tris Laporte. Shall we talk about the French? Shall we talk about the French? Also, the biggest bunch of rapists, thefts and unalivers in history, along with the British. Trist is an Englishman cosplaying a Frenchman. So funny how you would choose another colonizer. The French and the Belgians together, what you did in Congo. You Western European colonizers, white men, You project onto others what you think others do when you do it yourself. This is your culture. This is your heritage. This is your history. We're very aware of it. Triste pour là. Cognitive dissonance. You do crime in your countries. You do crimes abroad. This you. Real Talk with Donald Robinson says, I'm new here. May I ask why Goddess in your name? I'm wondering. That's a silly question. It's a silly question to ask. That's also not even what we're talking about here. Why would you ask about the name I've got for myself? Stick to topic. Because those who know, know. And you never question the presence of such beings. Triste Lepore, you have no idea of history. You're believing black false history. Where have I actually talked about black history so far? Guys, in the chat, can you tell me during this live, have I talked about black history? In this conversation, have I talked about black history? Thank you, this is Beth. No, not at all. I'm talking about reformers. I'm talking about homosexuality. Thank you, Jangir. Exactly, Naomi. We're discussing UK politics. Thank you, Leanne. No, not at all. Triste pour là. Eve, thank you. Xen. No, not at all. I've spoken nothing of black history at all. So far, in the 33 minutes I've been on, 33, it just said 33333, by the way. The masters are around. The spiritual masters are here this morning. I've spoken nothing of it. These people have a narrative in their head and they hear things, they hear voices. And I always say about these voices in their head that they ain't got to grips with. And they hear things that haven't been said. No, but you just talk bad about white people. I talk truthfully about the construct of whiteness, Triste pour là. I talk about British history and what it's done to the world. I talk about Western white Europeans. I talk about the separation of Eastern Europeans. I talk about the disgraceful behaviour that white English people have done towards white Irish, white Scottish, white Welsh, and the white Eastern Europeans. So where am I talking bad about white people? If you have people who are also victims of whiteness, you are not educated enough to understand this topic, sir. Bottom set. Bottom set. Reformers are bottoms. You also are a bottom. Lou has come back on another account, guys. Look at these people. Lou is back. Lou had already been muted or something. Or blocked, maybe, I can't remember. But Lou is back again. You see these people? Obsessed. Obsessed. They think that we're a problem. We're here all around. Oh, you were muted, but you're still here. The thing is, you're attracted to black and brown energy. You're attracted to the energy of the LGBTQIA community. You're attracted to disabled people. You're attracted to people who can live truthfully while you live a lie. This attracts you. How can we live so free and authentically while you are stuck and you're in the shackles, in the chains of patriarchy? Bottom set, uneducated, bottom rung, like I said, in the socio-economic class. Good morning, Bollywood. Bottom rung, socio-economic class. Yesterday, white working class. We were talking about, you guys, how you ended up being there and how you're stuck there and you're jealous of everybody else who's going higher. Even other white people you're jealous of who go up higher. But you reformers, you're still on that bottom rung. Like I said earlier, not even on the bottom rung, on the floor. You got your feet on the floor. And to be honest, you've grown roots. You are a tree that has grown roots deep into the earth because there is no way that you people will ever come up to the level of someone such as myself. Ever. I am so far above you in so many different ways. You know, we don't even breathe the same air. The air you breathe and the mindset you have is so toxic. We are not living the same reality at all. That you people think you come here and you still think you're smart and you think you're smarter than me. So many of you, I see it. You go to highly intelligent spaces where we're having great in-depth conversations and you're like, oh, you people are so dumb. You project all of the time what you wish you could be. And all you result to is insults and personal attacks. Look at this person's hair. Look at this person's skin. Look at them. Ha, ha, ha. I always talk about English sense of humour. You're like slapstick. People falling over. Stupid shit that doesn't require your brain to understand the joke. Lulu constantly projecting. I wouldn't say this is, let me do the accent of I think how Lulu talks, right? I wouldn't say this is an educational life. It's just someone having a meltdown. That's how Lulu talks. That's how Lulu talks. Tris Lepore says, anyway, thank you for not blocking me. You're trying to be honest. I'm not trying to be honest. I am. But you are disillusioned. Disillusioned. Interesting spelling there. Trist, why not come up and have a conversation? Like any of you guys, come up and have a conversation. Let me repeat about the history, okay, of homosexuality and homophobia in the UK. Because you guys love getting shafted by the patriarchy. This is why you're such bottoms. Bottoms to Tommy Robinson, bottoms to Rupert Lowe, bottoms to Nigel Farage. It's all men. You want to be open in who you love. And this is what I think also leads to the DV rates amongst men, right? Okay. We know that men, especially these reformers, DV their wives, they essay their young kids, right? We know this because they can't be openly homosexual. When a man is repressed and suppressed in his truth, they turn violent. What's the first thing they do? They make gay jokes. All the time. And you know what? I got a true story a few years ago. I was sitting waiting for a facial in this, it was actually the building that I went to. It had lots of different businesses, right? I'm sitting in the waiting room. This guy, English guy, came up to his friend that was listening to some music. I think he was a barber in there, right? Oh, this music you're listening to is so gay. Immediately I said, oi, don't be homophobic. Why did you say that? To be honest, he was listening to great music. I think he was listening to Westlife. He said, the music you're listening to is gay. I said, don't. And he said, no, I don't mean that. I said, you did. Why did you call him that? He might have been gay. He might have been closeted. He might not have been out. And yet you use that because you think that's an insult to somebody. You don't accept how people are, who they love. Bad. You see the quietness in that room after. If you call out these insecure little boys and their homophobic slurs, you see how quiet they get. Oh, no, I didn't mean it. When it comes to racism, same thing. Oh, no, I didn't mean it. Same shit. Reformers, you're bottomers, you're obsessed with other men and you can't be openly gay. You can't. Because I tell you, again, the history. Homosexuality was not a crime. It was not a thing until the 1800s. But when Britain was formed and when England was formed, when the English came to Britain, they started to criminalise people for being gay. In the 1500s, they created an act that said it was against the law and it was punishable by unalivement because it was a crime against God and man to be homosexual. English people decided that. Fast forward again, like I said, 1967, the first instances of decriminalisation of being homosexual. But you still could not be with your partner in a hotel. You still could not even be intimate with your partner inside your house if there was another third person in the house somewhere. You couldn't do it. Yeah, Lapis, yeah, criminalising, yeah, 1967. But it was limited. and you had to be 21. Whereas if you were heterosexual, you could be 16. Right, got someone who wants to come up and have a conversation. Aston. Yes, Aston, how are you?
Hi, Diva.
How are you?
I've got a slight confession to make.
Okay.
I don't now just come in here because I love the sound of your voice and everything you speak about. I also come to see what look is going to be served on a daily basis because, I mean, I'm not going to start doing all the typical stereotypical gay jargon, but the look.
Thank you.
I get it. I do get why so many men come in here and they're angry because they automatically think they can get any woman. They see you and think there isn't a chance in hell I could secure her. Like, never. There won't be enough zeros in my bank account to make this happen. And the rage they feel, honey, the rage.
It's honestly true. It's honestly true. Like, I hear so many of, like, they come in my DMs after, oh, you're so attractive, but I don't like what you say, but I really like you. And I talk about this. Like, I think you know, don't you, that I'm a dominatrix, right? So I deal with this mindset on an everyday basis, is that they have a conflict based on what white society has told them, that black women are the worst, you know, we're diabolical, we're awful people, and yet they find us so attractive. So they're really struggling with that conflict, you know, and I'm just like, deal with that shit outside of me. That's got nothing to do with me. Like, process that away from me.
Right. Even when I came in about, I think, 10 minutes ago, and you were talking about so much different things, and then in the comments, you just, oh, you hate white people, you're just always going into white people. It's like, again, you're just literally proving Fox right, because Fox is saying the comprehension skills are really lacking, right? And their then rebuttal and their evidence to prove you wrong is to not comprehend what you're actually saying again, which is, like, even yesterday, I thought, oh, Fox is even given the grace that, you know, she was like, do you know what, to be fair to the working class white people, X, Y, and Z, which I think is given as a grace, by the way.
Thank you.
Even after that, it was like, oh, you're just playing the victim card. You're playing the victim card. You hate all white people. They're so embarrassing. They're so fucking embarrassing. It's just, I can't. But, I get the heebie-jeebies. They give me the heebie-jeebies. It's just embarrassing, honey. Embarrassing. Oh, but what, do you know what? Strangely, one thing we slightly disagree on is I do agree on the suppression of sexuality and stuff. I do understand that. However, I have a little thing at the minute of this trend of not holding straight cis men accountable. Because I see a lot of posts where they'll portray some really toxic, evil behaviour, and straight away it'll be a woman that's doing the post saying, oh, we know deep down you just really like men, that's why you're doing this. Like, I think there is a bit of a danger going. I think it is true in some instances, but I do think that some women are missing now that it's still important to hold straight cis men accountable for their violent, negative behaviour. Whilst at the same time, like what you're doing, acknowledging that, yes, the suppression of men in this country not being able to be there. I know a big portion of the hate I receive, because I think people think it's just social media. For me, it's a everyday occurrence in my everyday life. And I know a big portion of that is because a man is jealous. He can't live freely like I can.
Yes.
Like, I give zero Fs. No one can tell me anything about myself. Nothing at all. I will continue being fabulous every single day. And luckily, I can hold my own. But I can see it in them. I can literally see it in their eyes that they automatically take a dislike to me. It's like, how dare you be so comfortable that you'd leave your house like that? Yeah. And I can see it, and I know that. And I sometimes have had, like, you know, like, for instance, when you're in the bar and you're in the smoking area and you get into some deep life conversations, and they'll admit it. They will literally admit, say, oh, you know, I would never do X, Y, Z, even though I'd want to, because all my friends would say it's gay. It's just... They're just exhausting. But then what they'll do then is, like, me and First do the lives every day at 10 a.m. And they'll still come in, they'll just say loads of homophobic stuff in the comments, then they'll leave. And do you know what I did? I did weeks, so I exposed one of them, because he was then in my DMs afterwards. In the DMs.
That's what happens every single time. Especially for straight women that have gay friends. And when we go to these spaces, see the same situation. Like I said, dominatrix. That one of the biggest requests that a straight guy has who is married is forced by. They want to They do.
Yeah.
And look
yeah.
at Keir Starmer, right? How quickly have we moved on from Keir Starmer and his things with boys? We've moved on too fast from that, by the way, guys. A married
We
man,
do, don't we? We do.
Look at Trump as well. The stuff that came out with him and Clinton. These people wish they could be openly gay. They wish it. But like I said, there's literally 400 years of suppression of homosexuality. And they feel like it's a better way to actually just put these men on a pedestal and worship them in a way that feels acceptable, rather than them actually being good people and being like, right, okay, I wish I could just love who I wanted to love. They can't do it. They really can't do it. And this is the thing, and I think it's a really important thing that you've just made to say, is that there are, of course, just genuinely straight men who just are so hateful as well. These people, I think, go to a next level of hatred. I don't think they're the group of people that I think they are. When you are a straight heterosexual man, I don't think that perhaps you may be closeted. I think you're just a straight heterosexual man who is just evil. That's what I actually think in my mind. Because the programming and the DNA, I feel that they're just so different from the rest of us. And I feel like even if you were closeted and you have that frustration, I still think that maybe there might be some kind of empathy within you somewhere, even if it's towards animals, right? Even towards animals.
Yeah.
But these other people don't even like animals. They will do terrible things to them as well. Do you know what I mean? So I think, yeah, there's something in this particular group of people, because you see reformers as a group of people, and then you see schmartsies, who are the literally worst of the worst of humanity, right? And the reformers kind of go across both groups. And then, of course, you've got the ex-Labour voters in that group and ex-Tory voters, who a lot of them wouldn't even hurt a fly. They really wouldn't. They're just obviously very disenfranchised people, and they don't understand the country, the business, because it's not a country, the business of the UK. They don't understand how it's made
It's
up.
definitely a country. It's definitely a country. And your big, stupid nigger fucking head can't grasp that for some reason. You live in one of the most prosperous nations to ever exist. I mean, you're speaking their language.
But let me tell you something. Yeah, I can see from your profile. I'm not going to disrespect your life, Fox. I'm not going to do it.
Bottom barrel, like I said, what did I say? This is the whole thing. Bottom barrel, uneducated, very afraid of other people.
And then I promise you now, if you now made a sweeping statement about dirty, crusty little men like that come into this life, you made a sweeping statement now, I promise all the YT people in the comments crying, saying, oh, you just don't, that's one example, you just don't like YT. It's the same cycle over and over. I've got to go because I've got to go to work, but I just want to say, you are actually amazing, Fox. I'm not even just, you are actually amazing. Like, everyone, and in fact, when I get drop off, I need to send some gifts. Everyone, send some gifts. This ain't for free. Why should she be doing, she's educating for free. Okay, the teachers get a salary? Yes, they do. So we need to start, everyone needs to actually start sending some gifts to the host. I mean, even if you don't agree with what the host is saying, I mean, just for the look alone, that deserves some coin. And that's, I'm going to bid you a fabulous day. Keep doing you. And you're just amazing. I absolutely adore you.
Thank you, Aston. Thank you so much, Aston. It's always a joy to speak to you. Thank you.
Thanks for having me up.
Thank you. Thank you. So, yes, guys, as I've been saying, reform are absolute bottoms in so many different ways. And they show themselves like that guy. And like we see, even when we talk about English people, reformers end up being MAGA, end up being Restore, end up being AFD. I need to still learn the name of the ones in Australia. We haven't had actually any Australian racists so far, I think. They seem to be Australian allies, which is good. So when we have that mindset of man who is literally at the end of his existence, we know that white men are feeling this. They're feeling their reality collapsing. And some of you guys, I've put you into a spiritual group chat. There's a woman on here called the Carefree Brown something. Hold on, let me find her name real quick. Because she's fantastic. Let me find her name so you guys can actually look into what she does. Carefree Brown Girl, okay? And she does colonial spirituality, like the decolonization of spirituality, like how she says it is way better than I can phrase it. But it is about, thank you, Lapis, the white male decline in colonialism, but using spirituality. She's fantastic. Really, really good. I love following her. Everything she says is just spot on. And like we're saying, and like we're understanding, white men are collapsing in so many different ways, financially, spiritually, physically, energetically. And remember I said about the 8 pillars before. I said the 8 pillars of wellness and how white men had just at the end of all of it. You've just said butternubs now love the tops in it. Tops of what? Top of the penis? Yeah, that's what it would be. That's where they're at the top of the pee-pee. Because they're obsessed with the patriarchy. They're obsessed with other men. TikTok or the universe doesn't want me to talk about this, about how the reformers are absolute bottoms. This is the reform bunch. And there's many reasons why they're bottoms. Hi, Karima. There's many reasons why the reformers are bottoms, right? They're bottom set, highly uneducated. We're very aware of the GCSE results. Who's at the bottom? White British people, the working class. Bottom set, bottom educated. Look at their spelling on this here internet. Atrocious spelling. They cannot spell, they cannot speak English. Their language, their colonizer language, they cannot spell. We are spelling and speaking better language than they are. Bottom rung. They are bottom rung on the socio-economic class. Like I said, on the weekend, we talked about the working class, white working class, crying and bitching and moaning, saying, oh, the world is so hard and life is so hard. Bottom rung of the socio-economic class. You've been played by your higher classes. And now apparently it's black and brown people's fault as to why you're so poor. It's our fault, apparently. Bottom rung, bottom barrel. They've become the worst of society. Hateful, aggressive, discriminatory, all because they hate themselves. Bottom barrel, bottom feeders. They do anything by any means possible to survive because they know they're going extinct. And so what they're going to do, they've got to kiss the ass of the rich, the people that have been controlling them this whole time. They're now saying, hey, I love the royal family more than ever. I love Elon Musk more than ever. I love Trump. I love Nigel Farage. I love Rupert Lowe. Bottom feeders, because you don't want them to come after you next. But instead you start working for them, making them even more rich. Bottom feeders. You are bottom shelf. You have sold your soul to the lowest bidder. You are cheap. You are worth nothing, invaluable. But they have turned you into having a purpose. It didn't take much for you to sell yourselves for these elites, for this 1%. It didn't take you much because you had nothing. Because by being on the bottom this whole time, you've never felt that you could go higher. Now you look at black and brown people, you get upset at them because we've climbed the ladder. We've come out of the programming, we've come out of the system, we've become highly educated. We've become higher in the socio-economic class. You thought we were the worst of society? That was always a lie. That was propaganda fed to you. We've always been above you. Always. I had somebody here earlier, uneducated, trying to tell me that I was lower than them. Anytime someone comes here and tries to tell me that they're higher than me, hilarious. Just look at the way they string their sentences together. They lie to themselves so much. And of course, they are bottoms as well. They are so homophobic. So homophobic. And I tell you why, right? English people are massively homophobic. Before they came to the UK and created their colony of England, the world was very liberal. But they then pushed Christianity, which made people question themselves and not want to love who they want to love. And so they started to go inside themselves. And English people made it a crime to be homosexual. They did in the 1500s. And they made homosexual acts illegal and punishable by unalivement. TikTok censoring the comments. Yeah, exactly. Algorithm, hate to see you, but they ain't going to stop. Thank you, Karima. Oh, I know. I know. So like I was saying, 1500s, they started unaliving people for loving the same person. The law said it was illegal for you to love somebody because they said it was against the acts of God and the acts of man. But even in Greek times, right? And even in Roman times, they had said, everybody love whoever they want to love. It's free to love who you want to love. We're human beings. But the Christians, the Anglo-Saxon Christians, they did not like this. They didn't want to see anybody happy because they're miserable. So they made it a crime to be gay. And then, fast forward from 1500 to 1967. This is the first time we see the decriminalization of being gay. But you still were not allowed to love people in a hotel. Same-sex people were not allowed to love each other in hotels. And you were also not allowed to love on your partner inside your house if there was more than you and that person. If there was a third person in the house but they're in another bedroom, it was still a crime. You didn't want people being happy because you're miserable people. You are miserable. And then if you go to the 90s, end of the 1990s, there was a string of homophobic unalivings in London. This was when, of course, the gay community was coming out being like, yeah, we can have our pubs and our clubs and we can dance and we can kiss and we can make friends and we can have our allies. But there were people, men especially, that didn't like how free others were being. So they started to unalive these men and they called it unsolved. Because guess why? The police knew about this shit too, because they were too afraid to be themselves. Way too afraid. Christian, how are you today? Am I saying that right? Or Christian? Christian?
No, Keishan.
Sorry, Keishan. Yes, welcome. Are you well today?
Yeah, I'm well today. Are you?
I am wonderful, thank you. So this is my topic today, about the reformers being absolute bottom set education-wise, bottom rung in the socio-economic class, bottom barrel, the worst of society, bottom feeders doing anything they can to survive, bottom shelf because they sold themselves for cheap again to the 1%. And of course, they're bottoms because a lot of them...
But the thing is...
Go ahead.
The thing is, I've met a lot of... I know... not all, but I know a few coloured people in the UK.
You don't use the word coloured.
Asian.
How old are you? How old are you? How old are you?
I'm 34.
You're 34, and yet you're still using
34.
those terms. You're still using those terms we haven't used.
No, but not in that way. But
no, it's not in that way.
Yeah, but I'm talking about...
You can say people of colour. I don't like that phrase. Or people from the global majority, or black or brown people.
Yes. Black or brown people, I know in the UK specifically that voted for reform.
Yes, we all know
And
this.
when I've spoken to them and asked them what's the reason that they voted for reform, is because they're saying there's too much people coming into the country, and they're saying that their culture is different from, even though they're from the same background, they say their culture and ways are different because they have said they've adopted the English ways. And I've met a few people saying these things, and it makes me very shocked.
I'm not
What is
shocked.
going on?
I'm not shocked because brainwashing is part of the culture. Assimilation is part of British culture. Do what your neighbours do what your friends do. It's British culture, and you get alienated if you feel something different. These people, of course, are thinking that same way because that's what they're hearing from their neighbours. And they don't want to be alienated. They don't want to be on the side of that, because being on this side is too scary for them. They feel the fear, so they have to assimilate with the enemy. And as you right, Dee, it is such a small percentage. It is so insignificant, these black and brown people. Because if you look at the reform protests that are happening every week, you don't see anybody. You only see black and brown people really there when it comes to some kind of propaganda. I've seen the videos recently of reform, like about 7 or 8 brown people, like Asian people, and 1 black guy. It's such a small percentage. There's always going to be
it's a
lost
small
sheep.
percentage.
There's
Yeah.
always going to be lost sheep in these conversations that haven't awoken yet and don't understand the consequences. Look at the people in the government, in the parliament. We are all naming the coconuts. Thank you, Hermit Sapien. Good to see you. We can name who they are on one hand. It's not a significant amount.
No, it's not a big number, is it?
No. They're still like they are out of fear. Like I say, reformers I'm talking about the white English people. They're the ones who are the problem. These other people, like I say, have to do something to make sure that they feel protected because they're out of fear.
So do you believe the election in 2029, do you believe Reform will win?
It's not 2029, it'll be 2027. And no.
Oh, is it 2027? Okay.
No. Yeah, no.
It's 27.
It's not going to
Okay.
happen. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Because by then,
So who's gonna take power then?
Green. There's plenty of time. So the reason why Reform have managed to get so much traction is because they've been literally pushing this idea since the Brexit vote, right? And they've been, as a party, as Reform for 4 years, and they've heavily been able to manipulate social media with all of these bots, right? Most of these things are not even real people. And so when it comes to actually voting for Reform, it's in the mind of, okay, well, I feel like my feelings are more valid and I can be accepted. But there's plenty of time, and Greens have had significant gains. Lib Dem also significant gains as well. Labour still controls the majority. Conservative still controls the majority. There is plenty of time.
Remember that could change.
Huh?
Remember that could change. Who knows? It could change. That can change.
It can change, but I don't think it will, because Reform are not delivering anything that's promised. People that already have a Reform council, they're all talking about how everything has gone shit. Like even worse. Even worse. So that information will spread, and it has been spreading.
So what if the Conservatives and the Reform do a coalition together?
It won't be, Labour's in charge, so they won't do a coalition. They won't, and they definitely won't do it with Conservative, because most of the people who have actually gone to Reform have been Labour. So it would have to be a Labour and Reform Conservative, which would never happen because they don't like Keir Starmer. So a coalition wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen.
No.
So you see, it wouldn't happen. It would not happen. No one would want to be another thing. The only coalition that would exist, but actually not even exist, is that if Restore all of a sudden had massive popularity, but Rupert Lowe and Nigel Farage don't even like each other. People who are voting for Reform think that people that vote for Restore think Reform is too weak. So there would never be a coalition with any of these people. Reform is
I believe it's the destiny. I believe that the destiny is going to come for the Reform, and then the country's just going to go very tits up for them. They're going to win. I believe Reform will win. I believe it's planned. I believe they've written it already. Who's going to win?
There's many things that have been written, and the English or British breaking apart is part of the story. English people are part of the story. Western white Europeans are part of the story. So, Karima, please stop making these comment sections about yourself. I am going to mute you. Can you mute Karima, please, guys, for 5 minutes? Because Karima, you're too dramatic for this space. Nobody cares about what you think. Like your comments, and I said to you in the DMs, your comments are distracting. I stopped replying to you. Can you guys mute Karima? Thank you so much, Hermit Sapien. Like, don't come here and make the conversation about you. This is the clear conversation. This is what we're talking about here. right? So, and people on the panel, I literally mute you and I come to you when it's time for me to discuss with you. I think you guys have never been here before. It is not a panel where people can't control themselves, or if you can or can't control yourself, you get dropped down to the comment section. Okay, so I'm having a conversation with Christian. Yes, it is definitely part of the bigger plan to make sure that people are very much focusing on the problematic people on earth. English people are one of them. MAGA, of course, we've seen what's happened in America. Reformers are showing the same pattern. It's anybody that has this kind of idea that is so anti-human, which is what these people are, the absolute bottom feeders, the ones who are continuing to get shafted by the patriarchy. Bottoms. They're bending over and spreading their batty crease for the patriarchy. They are the ones who are the absolute bottom set, bottom rung, bottom barrel, bottom feeders, bottom shelf. And they are loving having their tongue up there by the patriarchy. They love it. They're so submissive and they don't even want to accept it. They think that there's a strong man. Nah, man. Homosexuals for the patriarchy. That's the facts. Christian, and last point from you, then I'm going to be to Alex.
Yeah. So so this is what is gonna happen, what is going on, and I believe Elon Musk is behind a lot of this as well. He's funding a lot of it.
Yep.
So so Farage and Elon Musk, Trump, they're gonna get together. I believe that they're gonna put Farage in the place that he needs to be, or wants to be.
Which is where?
Not generally needs to be, but he wants to be.
Which is where?
To be the prime minister, and as the prime minister of England.
Well, that's what they're.
And by that time, I believe people of color need to get their minds to. They need to get their minds together.
Get
their minds together and get out before it's too late for them, because a lot of them are gonna suffer a big issue. A lot of them are. If they don't have an alternative plan, I'm talking about colored people, people of color. People of color. If they don't have an alternative plan, it's gonna be a very. I don't even know how to say it. It's just not going to be looking good for them.
It's literally, and this is why I left the island of depression, alcoholism, misery 4 years ago, because I could see it coming. I knew exactly what was going to happen. Like I said, it is the crumbling of the United Kingdom. Black and brown people need to go back to brown people, actually. I will say brown people are the ones who are the future of the UK. I've said this, I've made it very clear. Muslims also are the future. They are the ones who are actually more sort of protected by the universe at this moment. Black people, it is our story to go back to our motherlands, to go back to rebuild our communities, to connect more with black people. That's literally what we're supposed to be doing. Get ourselves out of that island of misery, or anywhere in the Western European societies that have placed racial hierarchy and put us at the bottom. They purposely did that because they were afraid of our
But look at the comments.
Christian, I'm moving to the next person, so please do stick around and we will talk a little bit more. But that's literally the plan. Black people, get the hell out of the country. Don't go down with the ship. Those people, like we just talked about, the people who think that it's okay to vote for reform who's black and brown, you're not protected by this. You're literally in the lion's den now, and you're a sheep. Okay, Alex, we've got Alex now. Alex, how are you?
I'm well.
Good.
I don't disagree with anything you're saying, but the way you're framing it, what's wrong with being a bottom?
There's absolutely nothing wrong with being a bottom. I'm making them see.
Right. And I knew you'd say that too. I knew you'd say there's nothing wrong with it. So reformers are bottoms.
Yeah.
Well, that's a real cell phone. I think you're you like men, don't you? It's a real cell phone. You're making fun of yourself with this, basically. What's wrong with being a bottom?
Nothing.
Okay, anyway, good luck.
Okay, is that all you had to contribute? Like, he dropped himself. That was literally like, is that what you really thought was... Did you think you did something there, Alex? Did you think you did something? I don't know. Did he think he did something, guys? I think he thought. Oh, anyway. Sohail? We've got Sohail, please. Hello, Sohail on the panel. Sohail?
Yeah.
Yes, hello there. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So this is the topic today. This is the top.
Yeah,
I said
yeah, yeah.
bottom set. I've said many things. So just 1 minute. D in the comment section. I've said bottom set, bottom rung, bottom barrel, bottom feeders, bottom shelf, and also bottoms as well. Because like I said, they're getting shafted by the patriarchy willingly. By the way, they're giving their consent. Because everything around here in my life is consensual. They are giving their consent. Right, so Hale, what do you have to add?
Yeah, you know what? I'm not very politically minded. I never have been. But I was born in South London and grew up in East London, and I really want you to try and convince me that that Reform are not the way and the Green Party are the way, please. I really do not want to be supporting any party that is deemed to be any which way form racist or anti-Semitic
Guys,
or whatever.
I can't listen
But I just
anymore.
can't help.
Did you hear? Yeah, he asked something of me. He came here asking me to do something for him. My ghast is flabbered. Why do you think I'm here to be some politically minded person to... I'm not a member of any party at all. I'm not here to do the work for you, Sohail. The internet is available. Your ears can listen. You make the decision. I'm not here to convince you of nothing. These people here know who I vote for, and I don't even push that either. So why would you think it's my responsibility? Are you not educated enough to go and find out for yourself?
From what I can see that's happening in my environment, like where I live, and it's getting from bad to worse, to be honest.
Okay, so what do you want me to do about it?
No, because you know it says reformers are bottom.
Yeah.
I actually voted reform. So
you're the
where
bottom
it says
set, you're the
reformers,
bottom set, you're the bottom rung, you're the
Yeah, why
bottom
is that?
barrel, you're the bottom
Why is
feeder,
that?
you're the bottom shelf.
why is that? That's what I want to know. That's what I want you to tell me. Why is that? Why do you think that the reformers are bottom? That's all I'm asking.
If you don't know, Lord.
I mean, I'm being 100% sincere. There's nothing untoward about the phone call. I'm asking you, why is it that they're bottoms? I mean,
You would
from
know.
what I can see, Labour
You
have
would
done
know.
absolute nothing.
You would know, Sohail. This conversation has been going on for such time, and you still don't understand why it's a problem. You sound brown. You're brown. You're Pakistani. You're Indian. You're Bangladeshi.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah,
never thought.
Pakistan.
And you never thought when you looked around.
But I'm English.
Sohail, when you looked around, how many brown
Yeah,
faces did you
yeah.
see when you were voting for Reform? How many brown faces?
No, I actually done it by post. But where I live, Reform won. But what I'm trying to say to you is, it doesn't matter. I mean, look, listen, my dad always voted Labour. We've always been Labour, and that it's always been Labour. But they haven't actually done anything for our community here. In fact, it's just been a disaster after disaster.
So how old are you? How old are you?
I do I have to mention that?
Yes.
I'm 55. I'm 55.
55.
I was born in 1970. Yeah.
My heart.
London SW17.
My heart. You're 55. I thought you were in your 20s, talking the way that you're talking, without this level of education. You're 55.
No. You know why that? You know why that is? You know why that is? Because I'll tell you why that is.
No.
Because
You're 55. You're older than me. Way older than me. And you should be old enough to see what's actually happened in your community. You're old enough to understand when Labour was Labour, when it was actually a Labour Party that actually did serve the people. You're old enough to understand that. You should be old enough to understand when you're being played as well. You've got many years on this planet, way more experience at life than I have. You don't even see how you've been manipulated to go from Labour, which served the black and brown communities, to serve disabled people. What actually built the country was a Labour and a socialist type society, right? And then you thought in your mind that Reform had the same policies and the same ideas?
Well, number one, I'll tell you one of the biggest reasons
So Hale, you thought they had the same ideas. You, in your mind, right? You've said you voted Labour. Your father voted Labour. You've always been Labour voters, and you thought in your mind that this Reform Party would bring back those Labour policies. That's what you thought.
No, not at all, not at all. I'm saying, like, my family, my dad and stuff, and my uncles and all our family were always Labour. And as I said to you in the beginning, the reason I sound like a 20-year-old is because I've got no education. I'm an illiterate. I didn't get any kind of education whatsoever.
Okay, you're trolling me
but
now.
all I can only tell you how I feel from what I can see.
You're trolling me now.
You know,
I know you're trolling me now. I know this for a fact. You must be so bored in your life, right? You must be really bored. You must be very bored in your life that you have to come.
Why are you getting upset?
You have to be so bored in your life that you had to come in this space, say that you're a brown person voting for Reform, and saying everything else that you said, like you want me to convince you to vote other thing. This is a very bored person you are. Because these are serious and also tongue-in-cheek conversations that we're having here, but you don't even have the cognitive grasp of your own life to come here and talk truthfully about your own experiences. You have to be a troll. Trolls are very sad, and trolls are actually part of this bottom thing as well, by the way. Trolls are also part of this bottom.
I didn't mean to upset you. I don't mean to upset you. Please don't be upset.
Don't project onto me. You trolls, or you people who pretend, are the same group of people. Bottom set, bottom barrel, bottom rung, bottom feeders, bottom shelf. You do this stuff because you think it's fun.
Okay, I told you how I feel, right? Who are you going to be? I mean, who did you vote for, if you don't mind me asking? Was it the Green Party?
My topic here is about reformers being bottom, and I talk about this is the subject today. This is what we're talking about.
All I can say is long live the king and God bless England. You know what I mean? God bless England. Because I don't think people realize how lucky we are, really, you know, to be in the United Kingdom.
Disconnect. Go and be a loser somewhere else. Like, truly. Go and be a loser somewhere else. Go and do that somewhere else. It's pathetic. You show how underdeveloped you are as a person. I know you're in your 20s. Yeah, see, look, this is their level of sense of humour. He thinks this is funny. Like being a brown man and being like, yeah, I'm voting for reform and God save the... That's fucking sad. That's really sad. I know you probably didn't even vote for them either, to be honest with you. But you think that this is a form of entertainment because your life is so empty and so devoid of pleasure. Back to the topic. The prompt ain't crazy. The prompt is true. The prompt is true. They're bottoms. Bottom set, bottom rung, bottom barrel, bottom feeders, bottom shelf. And also, a lot of them are homophobic because they don't understand they are homosexual. So instead, they end up worshipping other men. Closeted. I said this on the earlier live. Let me bring this up again because I'm going to end the live soon. I said about how a lot of them are DVing their wives, right? And essaying their kids. This is what happens when a man can't live his truth. He's attacking the women in his home because he can't be openly gay. He can't. He attacks them because society around him has told him being gay is bad. They need to be able to be free and be who they are. But like I said, there is 400 years of history in Britain that has said that being gay is unacceptable. It's illegal. You would be unalived for it. And you're still harassed, still attacked. And you see now that gay people are out and proud. And then they still go to these places and still beat these people up because they're jealous. They don't know how to process these emotions. We know that men have a problem with processing truth, with processing their feelings. And so they lash out. It is terrible. It is terrible living in a world, how Britain says that we're liberal and this is a democracy, that men can't even be openly gay in 2026. Like I said, it was number 1 in terms of liberal rights for the LGBTQIA community. Now it's 22nd. Backwards. Went backwards. Mimi's on the panel. Hello, Mimi.
Hi, my lovely. I'm loving what you're saying. I'm sitting here nodding along as I'm typing, and I thought, let me jump up. And you just said, you're going to end the live. And I'm like, oh no! But just quickly, it's a sign of an advanced society that you accept people's sexuality. They like to talk about the Roman Empire. They don't like to mention that the Romans themselves were partial to the LGBT community, and actually it was revered from some parts as well, again with African spirituality, Africa culture as well. Before we were interrupted by the British, we didn't have any issues with the LGBTness. In fact, gender to us wasn't a binary concept. There were phases within, similar in the Indian culture as well, with their gods and stuff, not necessarily male or female. I also find it really weird that people who profess to be Christian, and I am one as well, don't realise that there used to be female priests back in the day before men's egos got into the way, and they decided that they had to be dominant as well. Priests were allowed to marry in the Catholic Church until they decided not to. Why? Because women are always powerful. We have the Kundalini. We are goddesses.
You
we
said
are, well, some of us, 'cause not
Kundalini.
everybody.
You're my girl. You mentioned Kundalini. You're my
I told
girl.
you we're on the vibration.
Girl.
Because it's weird to me, they don't understand this, and that's why the white tea woman that was stalking you, I strongly believe it is obsession with us. Because even when we ignore them, I said this yesterday, we don't even care about racist people. We don't. I can go a whole week, whatever, and if I don't see a whitey person, I'm not bothered or fazed by it. I don't obsess about them. I don't necessarily, aside from the human beings, I don't care about them on any level. Because why? You've made it abundantly clear you don't like me or my people, and that's okay. Just stay in your lane and I'll stay in mine. But it's not good enough. And it's not good enough because your spirit is troubled, because you're demonic. And then when it comes to certain stuff, not only is it the case that you want to dominate or have some sort of false superiority, you want to try and make me believe that. Well, I'm not going to. And that's why you can have Tommy 10 names and whomever marching on the weekends and stuff and all the rest of it. We are not phased. And you will see, you continuously they don't seem to like it. And that's why I sit back and I'm just like, it's fragility. You're projecting onto others because you know you ain't shit. Bottom set, I think they're beneath bottom. How embarrassing that you've been born into a country of privilege, your skin tone is giving you all this privilege and you still can't make use of it. Yeah? On the live yesterday, we were trying to explain to that guy that on a human level, I understand that this system is not working for even him. Now, I have the grace as a BOK person who's been harmed left, right and centre by this system to even accept that it doesn't benefit him. But he could not recognise the humanity in what was being said and wanted to keep coming. It is. And that is why when you're not on the same vibe, you can't sit with us. And that's what I think they get upset about. Because even when we do have our own black spaces or places, they want to infiltrate and come in. It is a sickness. When I see lives that are dedicated to Tommy 10 names and all that kind of, I scroll on by. It's not my business. Because if you want to continue to punch down, listen, if your focus is on people on boats, but not on the fact that broken teeth man had 5 million pounds given to him and there's been no accountability as to where that's come from, that you've got people sitting in the House of Lords who owe the government money, that are making influencing policy that directly affects you, and you're not at their doorstep. You want to come and talk about people being in hotels who wouldn't be in this country had your country not gone and fast with them on behalf of capitalists, not even on you. Yeah, your food rates are going to go up in November. I don't see any of you out at Tesco's talking about how they price gouged during COVID, during the lockdown, and they've continued to do so thereafter. But you want to talk about shoplifters? Leave the shoplifters alone. They're not your problem. It's Tesco's rising.
Did you bring up that point yesterday, maybe, saying about you don't care if the shoplifter is a white person because then it's all of a sudden, oh, it's the local so-and-so, they're fine. When it's a black or brown person, it's like... We need to report the
I think it was
police on
someone
their
else, but I
media.
heard, and this is yes, it was somebody else. It was a gentleman that was on
Somebody
before me,
Yeah.
and it's true. And that's how weird it is because we've got local nitties down here, and no one says anything because we know that they're on drugs. We know that what they're doing, and we know why. But it's the age old. They can accept that these people are on schmugs. Sorry, I don't want to get you flagged, but when it's whitey, yes, it's a health issue. But when it was us now. It's because our whole community is degenerates, and that's what we do. If you cannot see how you're being played by this system, you are right. They are bottom set, and not only are they bottom set, they attempt to bring the rest of us down with them, and we're not having it. And I think this is why they have a problem, because we're constantly fighting back and saying, "Listen, who you've got in your bedroom is no consequence to me. I don't care. As long as it's consensual and there's no coercion, we're good to go." Because at the end of the day, we recognise that being in a happier society is safer for everybody. And a lot of people don't understand these YT men, they're harmful to them, not only to the women, but to themselves. And when we're trying to explain that, these women are still voting in alignment with these men. There was a woman on this app who I just saw. She said she's whitey, she's blind, and she still voted for Tommy.
I saw
for
her.
reform.
I saw that lady. Somebody put a stitch, didn't they, over the top and did a video talking about. Yeah, I saw that. And she was like, "No, what the fuck you could do about it?" Like, terrible.
I don't need to, because natural selection will mean that it deals with itself, because it's the equivalent of turkeys voting for Christmas. They've already said that they're going to get rid of the Equalities Act. So where do you think your support is going to be? Now, this environment is hostile to a lot of us that are able to navigate it. And then on top of that, add the disability and the other stuff that will come into that as well. Why would you actively work for a party who don't believe in disability, who don't believe that it's a thing?
I think with that point about the EHCR, EHCR, Google, I've tried to find any content about this Bill of Rights that Reform want to put together.
They haven't written it.
It's nowhere. You search Bill of Rights Reform, no entries come up. The last Bill of Rights was actually put forward by the Conservative government in 2023 and was withdrawn. It was withdrawn. There is nothing to say anything about what human rights would actually be reinstated or reinstalled or changed. Nothing.
They are so willingly racist that they don't realise that it's affecting them. And this is the funny thing, because they think Equalities Act and that sort of stuff is only for black people. They don't realise it's a sex or gender, and they don't realise that it's, as I said earlier, on the last live, the guy who's had prostate cancer and needs to have carers come into his house from his family to look after him. They don't see it like that. And for a community who don't believe in community themselves, they don't like to look after their own elderly or sick people, it doesn't look good for you. And have you noticed that they pulled back on the assisted dying bill?
Have they?
They pulled back on the assisted dying bill.
Wow.
Yes, because they realised that who would be affected? It would be the old white men who don't look after their kids that will be put up first to be on the lines. So that is why I'm saying, like, you're doing stuff for your own downfall. And that is a thing, because the funny thing about it is you don't have to like me and vice versa, but I can recognize and understand that we're both humans on this rock together and we do need to coexist. That is the difference. And until you're ready to evolve to that, you can't sit with me, and I don't really care. But what I do object to is you coming into my space and place and playing in my space and face, it's like a child taunting you, like, look at me, look at me, look at me. Get on with it. If you can do bad by yourself, go on. Exactly. Good luck to you. Hell, I'll even sit down and watch.
That's all it needs to be. And it is another level of mind that we're dealing with here, because the rest of us, we can have some kind of understanding, we can talk about things in common, and at least if you don't get it, like, you see some people shifting their mindsets a little bit, right, to understand, to be like, actually, do you know what, maybe I might be wrong on a few things. I've seen how some people have gone from voting Reform to Green, right? I've seen that they've been sailed down the river. They thought, like, as ex-Labour voters, that Reform was the way, but they've seen the truth. Like, I've seen these people, they do exist. But then when you have these other people, like we had somebody here earlier Shaz, I've blocked him now because it's weird, very weird. It's like you are getting annoyed at the conversation, but also I could see you processing at the same time because they were starting to say, well, actually, you are right about a few things. But then again, they still have this struggle, and then they still want to be around black and brown people and still not like themselves and still be like, and I said this before, like you malfunction somewhere else. Like the programming that's put upon you, I see that you're trying to break out of it, but I don't want to see that shit. I don't want to see it. Like, I don't want to see it. I'm not interested.
They're glitching in real life.
Yeah.
They're glitching in real life. And the funny thing is, all I can say to them is good luck, because you've been there before. I said this before in the live. You cannot tell me that your forefathers at the turn of the 19th century were fighting and burning down factories and stuff for no reason. They fought to you to have the 2-day weekend. They fought for the kids not to go up to the chimneys. Why are you voting for people that they were voting against and fought to have representation in parliament for? But you're so quick to tell me that my ancestors sold other people or rare tear tear, but you're not reading your own recent history. That tells me that you're obsessed with me, but not with the real life events of what's going on. There's a problem here. And for a lot of them, they're talking about the farmers and stuff. Majority of the farmers aren't the issue. It's the supermarkets that are pricing them out and kind of ripping them off. That's the issue. But even still, a lot of them still are wealthy in terms of the fact that their kids are going to private school and they're mixing with certain people. They are the landed gentry, as someone's put in the chat. But you don't get your head around that, and you don't understand that it doesn't benefit you. But you'd rather, Tony Tem names come into parliament and to the capital and cause disruption than looking at the people that you're paying your taxes to and saying, hold on, we deserve a better offer. I'm a strong proponent of universal basic income because I understand that in the next immediate future, we have got AI coming that's going to rip off a lot of people in terms of their jobs and stuff. Yeah. I also believe that as human beings, we don't have to be fully economically active. That's a capitalist ideal. I believe that as human beings, we should be out creating art, enjoying each other, and everyone's trying to call me at the same time, trying to coexist. And it's because we don't have art, because we don't have proper music, why you've been conditioned to believe that that is an unachievable state when we had it before previously. In fact, they called it the Enlightenment period. So for you to regress so willfully tells me that you are bottom set. And that's why I love you. I love your banner. I agree with it wholeheartedly, and I think sometimes people need to go back and reflect. Black and brown people, black people, we ain't sitting around looking at you. We don't care because we're new to it. We ain't new to this. We're true to this. Okay, so I've got my rice and beans and all the kinds of other stuff and yam and all kinds of other stuff in my cupboard. I'll be fine. Yeah, my hand can go into the stove. Yeah, I know how to make a meal out of nothing. We're not. I'm Jamaican. This is not new to us. Yeah. But you, man, can't do that. Do you know how to wash your clothes? A lot of you can't even. If your washing machine breaks down, you can't even get to the laundry.
Look at how much they were suffering, right? Look at how much they were suffering during COVID. Like all the crash outs were coming from white people. Like we were really enjoying, except for when they found that they could make bread. Yeah, remember that? They were like, we can make bread, guys.
And the sourdough.
Like the rest of us were like, okay, this is kind of normal life for us. Like we're going to be connecting with our friends, we're going to be doing Zoom calls, we're going to do our exercise, get fit, we're going to eat, we're going to do whatever we want, right? Okay, I have a personal story. Oh my god, my sister's boyfriend is white, and they've got a kid. She said, we're going into lockdown, we're going into a pandemic. We need to get supplies. What was in his bar? He got a basket. He didn't get a trolley, Mimi. He didn't even get a trolley. You got a basket. In that basket was one packet of Pampers, one piece of steak. This man was shopping like it was him. Just him. Just him. I couldn't believe. No tin food, no packet food, no nothing. And I have a picture of it somewhere. It's embarrassing when I even think about it. I said, oh my God, my sister. This is lockdown. And this is the thing. And this is exactly what's happening. We had Christian earlier talking about how this is a spiritual thing. Mimi, you know this too. This is the white Western European collapse. This is about them having to feel some kind of karma for everything they've done in history. They're going to have to go into some kind of lockdown again, or some kind of crumbling, or something that will literally end stage capitalism. Exactly. They're going to have to go into some kind of form of understanding of what real suffering is. because they had their testing COVID and they failed. Oh yeah, the toilet roll stock up, all of that. They failed miserably in that time, right? And you see how much they were itching because they couldn't even stay inside the house. They had to start protesting and being like, no, I'm not going to separate. I'm going to go and infect up everybody else. And at the same time, they're going to blame black and brown people. Oh, because black people aren't getting the vaccine. We weren't getting the vaccine. But this is the thing that pissed me off. Mimi, you'll remember this. When they brought out Lenny Henry and somebody else, I can't remember. And they were like, black people, we need to go out and get the vaccine, using our celebrities to say that we were the ones that were not getting vaccinated. That shit pissed me off. Do you remember that, Mimi?
I do. It was a slap in the face. And again, this is why I talk about racism laundering, how as a black person and a brown person, you have to be careful about the state and the elites using you for their own demise, to their own gain, and it's to your demise.
Yeah.
So listen, it was the toilet roll when they didn't realise that they didn't have to have so much toilet roll. A lot of them don't even wipe their ass or wash their skin anyway. So it was kind of like, what are you? You're rushing for toilet roll. That's the least of your problems. Do you understand? So it's a case like, what is your priority? I feel like for me, it is, even with the stuff that's happened with this cruise liner, have you noticed that they couldn't sit on the boat and quarantine together? Everybody had to flee to their respective countries. Yeah. There's a lack of communication. There's a lack of community amongst them.
But about that story, though, there was so much conspiracy around that story, whether it was real, whether it was planned. Like the one guy who did a video, first of all, it was like he's AI, but no, actually, it turns out he's an actor. Have you seen those parts as well, Mimi? So it's like, is this actually a real virus? No, I haven't even. Yeah, look into it. Like, if it's actually a real virus, and then of course they've reported that people have died. Like what's happening? But they also said that it might be a lab ship as well. So it's not just a regular cruise ship. It was like they were doing some experiments on there. And of course they want another COVID 2.0, because what the biggest benefit that the 1% got was what? Keeping us suppressed, making all their contracts to get even richer, right? And so and you remember it was the Western Europeans that locked down the latest, because I saw all the shit that was going on in China in the East. They stopped it immediately. They were like, this is bad. We've been through pandemics before. We're not letting this fly. But other countries were still allowing people to travel into these countries. It made me so annoyed. I was traveling at that time, and actually I was traveling to India for a wedding. I even got a text message on my phone saying we're not allowing people from China or from East Asian countries to come in because we're aware of this virus that is highly contagious. We're going to make sure that there's situations in place. Me, I was masking up beforehand because I do have susceptibilities to these things. And people around me, why are you masking up? Are you taking it seriously? Fuck yeah, I am. I did catch it. I caught it 3 times. The second time I was in hospital on a nebulizer. That's never happened to me before in my life. I know other people with long COVID as well. So they're still at the same time are trying to gaslight people and be like, COVID wasn't real. It never happened, because they suffered too much during COVID. They've completely forgotten of what actually happened at that time. The whole world, except for Africa, because, you know, we didn't have that shit. It didn't come from us. And the whole world locked down otherwise, except for our continent. And now there is this feeling of COVID never happened, and we don't need to keep ourselves clean, and we don't need to wash our hands. We're back to coughing with our mouth, like without putting our hands over our mouths. They had to learn their lesson in COVID, and they didn't learn it. So it's going to happen again. The nickname for the UK was what? Plague Island. It was Plague Island. Even if you go and look on the
Did you notice that they didn't?
Go on.
Sorry, my love. You notice that they never. So one of the things that always cracks me up is they didn't put in like fountains where people could wash their hands as they were going around. They didn't put in public toilets or anything like that as well. It was okay, well, you know, just have a bit of sanitizer and you'll be all right, Jack. Yeah. And there was no appreciation of cleanliness. There was no real discussion about what it means. When they said about you shouldn't walk your shoes into your house, you shouldn't do that anyway. So again, what were we talking about? And that was the difference. But again, cultural differences, we're all not the same, and that's good for everybody else. But you can't come and eat from, I'm not eating from you, you ain't eating from my house. But I just know that this is symptomatic of what's going to happen, because until it starts to directly affect them, and even then they won't admit they're wrong, they're going to continue. And that's why I don't agree in upskilling or when the guy was like, oh, explain, educate me and all that. No. You're a grown-ass man of 50, Asian guy at that, and you're telling us that you voted for reform. You're an up. In fact, I don't even want to have any because you're telling me not only are you deluded, you're delusional enough to put that in action. You're a threat to me and mine. So no, I don't want you around me.
Yeah.
And if you want to go with Tommy 10 names and stuff, please do. Because they will quickly show you who they are. And they've done it on I've seen it on marches where they've been marching with black and brown people there, and they're still being racist to them. So it don't make no sense.
Exactly. On this
Anyway,
platform-
listen, I don't want to hold you.
Oh, that's okay. Honestly, that's
It's
okay.
crazy.
It's always
It is
lovely.
crazy.
It's always lovely talking to you. So I'm never in a rush when you're on the panel to leave. I'm never in a hurry. I can literally talk all day with you. But there are so many things that, about their education part. Like you guys know, I don't educate nobody on this. I'm literally here for us, the global majority, or anybody else who's on the side of understanding. We're here to take the piss out of people. We're here to show people who our neighbours actually are, because we lived under the guise of that everything was okay in the UK. Oh, my neighbour's fine. And then all black and brown people turning around and you see at the protest being like, I saw you at the United Kingdom protest. Yeah. You stop getting surprised by these people. They've been showing you who they are the whole time. Stop getting surprised. Black and brown people.
That woman who saw her neighbour up there, I was just like, that's never gonna phrase me, because again, I have learned, maybe it's a trauma response, I have noticed that I cannot trust, and it's so bad. But the election results always say that they will betray themselves as well as us, and so that is why. The funny thing is, I'm happy to be in community, but I'm not gonna lead you to the water and make you drink, force you to drink, because you should want to do that for yourself and your people and your family. But again, a lot of them don't even like their family, they don't even like themselves. So we are where we are. But anyway, let me drop down. But as always, I'm so glad to see you up here. And I think sometimes people need to hear this constantly, because the more that you do, I think I can see them coming in, they're foaming at the mouth. They get really upset. Like, what? How dare she say this? And I'm like, yeah, when you go low, I'm going to drag you to hell, because I'm not going to, there's no high ground for us.
That's right.
You want to see the master? I'll drag you.
Drag them to hell, leave them there.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, on my spiritual experience, actually, I did, like I've said to my moderators, I do need to do a spiritual live, and I have talked about things that I've seen. I have seen the worlds. I've seen them. Like I say, I was atheist for over 4 years. In the last 2 years, I've seen things. I've seen the underworld, and I've seen up there as well. I've seen the souls down there, but also, like, actually, maybe let me leave it for another live. But some of these souls.
But do you know what? There's downloads happening at the moment now, because of what's going on. And I feel like those of us that are inclined to that, you can see what's happening. This is predictable. And I say to YT people that listen, we're on the cusp, and it's up to you to choose the path that you want to really have. Because I'm telling you from now, there's no coming back. And you're looking for other people who need to come and save you. We've been betrayed before. We're not doing it.
It's not happening.
So it's on you. So don't expect us to be leaders or anything like that. We're not doing that for you, because you've showed us who you are, and we believe you.
That's it.
Anyway, let me drop down.
All right,
see you later, my lovely.
Mimi. Thank you so much. And yes, as Mimi said, we are literally not here to save anybody. The funny thing is, that was going to be my other topic, and maybe I'll still do it, is that white people, we ain't coming to save you. We literally give you the knowledge. We are the keepers of knowledge. We know exactly what's happened. I got a video on my page about it. We have the direct line to the ancestors, to the earth, all of these things. We have the information. We present the information, and it's literally up to you how you decide to digest this. At the same time, we're not here to educate you. We're here to educate ourselves and decolonize ourselves. Right, we have Don Kingsley on the panel. I'm just going to let you up and be the last person before I end this. But Don, how are you today?
Yeah, not bad.
Good.
So,
So what would you like to add to the topic?
yeah, so you says, well, you said reform was off the bottoms, right? So you don't like the Reform UK party?
No.
Okay, so do you not think that this country needs reform in any way, shape, or form?
Why would I?
And
think
that rhymes.
Why would I think that? So you're a bottom.
Well,
you're
there's
a bottom.
several reasons.
You're a bottom.
I vote for Reform UK.
Yeah, so you're a bottom. Even your picture, you've got a man on a leash. You're a bottom. You're the guy on the lead at the bottom of your profile picture. Everybody click his profile picture. He literally has a man and a man in the lead. And so, are you that person on the floor crawling? That's you?
No, no, that's not me.
Yes, it is.
All right. So as I was saying, do you not think that something has to be done about Islamic extremism in this country?
What is this extremism that you think you're seeing?
Well, in the last 10 years, there's been a lot a lot of
many?
Islamic terrorist attacks.
How many?
And
How
and
many? How many?
10.
If there's a lot, how
10.
many? And you know all of them.
10 I just said.
10.
I just said 10.
So how many have the West done in the East, in the names of Christianity or in terms of European? How many in the last 10 years? How many wars?
That's irrelevant.
How many
No,
wars,
that's-
Don? How many
that's
wars?
irrelevant.
We're not talking about one person who's astray, one person or two people or three people. White terrorism that has literally plagued the entire world, and particularly in the Swana, South, West Asia and North Asia.
No, but you have to understand that was a long time ago. We're talking now in the last 10.
Disconnect. Don't play that game here. We are very educated. We know that the UK is funding Israel right now and destabilizing and causing a genocide in Palestine. We're not doing that today. It still happens. Even on my page now, I've talked about how they're literally in Afghanistan still. They are still in Sudan. They are still part of the Russia-Ukraine war. These things are still happening today. Lebanon, thank you so much. It's still happening today. But yet you're afraid of somebody called Muhammad, one of the most common names after Allah. Oh, actually the prophet from Allah. You're like, oh my God, I'm so afraid of his name. He's going to boom me. Not the fact that actually you should be more afraid. Thank you, Syria and Iran. Thank you so much, Anachronista. Good to see you, by the way. This is the problem. When you're so brainwashed and you're so uneducated, bottom set, like I say, you don't have the ability to educate yourself further. You believe propaganda. You are the 1%. You're the bottom. Like I said, you are that profile picture. You were that bitch crawling on the floor for the patriarchy. That's you. And he tried to say it wasn't. That was his profile picture that he chose, by the way. He chose that. Told us everything we need to know about that person straight away. He's a bitch for the government. Right, guys. Thank you so much again. I'll see you guys at another time. I think I'll be back on Saturday morning is when I'll be back with another topic. Right. Have a good day, everybody. And thank you so much for the moderations. Thank you so much to everybody here who's in the chat. Thank you for coming to the panel. Mimi, if you're still here, thank you so much for coming up for the conversation. Glad you enjoyed it, Paulie. Thank you. Right. See you later, guys. See you another time. Bye. Bye.